So we got the tools out for cable slide adjustments. Working on cable slide again, guys. We've been at this camper before. I told the customer the last time that I did remember we did the rollers to fix the collapsed wear bar. And at that time, I took a walk around the camper because they're all cable slides. And I let the customer know that, hey, all of these cable slides are loose, and sometimes when you tell customers that, hey, you're way behind on maintenance, you need to get the stuff fixed, they don't want to do it. Well, in this case, it has gotten a lot worse, and other problems have occurred. So now we're back to work on another slide. And again, you can't make the customers do this stuff. You can only tell them, like, hey, all of these slides need to be adjusted. All the cables are loose. So let's take a look at it. Yeah, that's loose. Loose, and you know it's super loose when you pull the bottom and the top cable moves. You get to this one and it's good and tight. Well, this is the one we fixed. That's the one we put the rollers on. All the rest of the rooms are out of adjustment. These are good, but this, not so good. So, you know, like I said, I told her they all need to be adjusted, but they only wanted to, you know, pay for the one that I was hired to work on. So that's all I did. I don't argue with the customers like, hey, you really need to get, I don't do that. I tell them, and then I let them make the decision. All right, so there's our slide topper, and that looks like the ones that have that comma, I think that's a Dometic. That looks like a Dometic slide topper. And as you can see, it's behind. And so, yeah, that's a problem. And then of course, the cables are loose. So the room's all out of whack because of the cables, and now the slide topper roller assembly has gotten pulled behind the fascia trim of the slide, causing yet another problem. It's gonna cost more money because now I gotta take slide topper off and see how much damage we got on that so it can get reinstalled properly. And you know, she said she heard a big popping sound. Well, that would be these guys colliding because it's so much out of adjustment. This one was twisted, and I had to untwist it just to get the room to come in some to see what was going on. And you're basically having collisions take place. I was gonna see if I could do this without taking the trim off. They've put nails, like real deal nails in it. If I hammer in a nail, and I'll see if I can adjust this without taking the this is good and tight, without taking the trim off. I'll see if I can reach back here in this space that I have and do it. I know I'll be able to get this one. Similar issue like the last one, the jam nut is way back at the chain, which as this thing vibrates is taking the chain tension off. So we're gonna start with just getting the slack out of this chain, and then we'll have to adjust the rest of them, tighten up all the jam nuts. So let me get at it. Starting with this one, which can pull way up here because it's that much out of adjustment. That nut, that jam nut does a lot, as you can see. If that's not tight, the whole chain gets slack. And this is just how it was. This is how they're using it. It's crazy, bro. So let me get at fixing it. So you can use a ratchet, provided you got deep sockets. I use 1/4 inch ratchet and some deep sockets. My sockets are SK. I'm using Snap-on. I prefer their style, especially when you're trying to sneak in like I'm doing and you don't have much room to swing the wrench. And you could use a normal ratchet as well, but you're gonna run into the same issue with the wrench where you're trying to swing and you don't have much swing. So just grab a 3/8 deep well and a 7/16 deep well. Now, as I tighten up on this, the cables are out of whack. This cable has much more, the top cable has a lot more tension than the bottom, and you could see that in the sagging. So I'm going to have to adjust the cables on this one, and I have done it with that purple one down there already. I had to loosen a lot of the tension on one of the cables to get it even, and then bring it both in with the chain cable. So the chain cable is the larger nut. That's gonna be the 7/16. We got that on tighten. This makes it easier, quicker, especially when you're in a tight spot like this. So as you can see, I'm on it. Okay, so I'm getting that pretty tight. And as I'm doing that, you could see how out of whack the other cable is. So I need to tighten up on one cable and loosen up on the other. So we gotta take the anti-vibration blocks off so that we can adjust those. And so we've gone as far as we want to go with our chain nut. And now we want to deal with our individual cables. You got to put the pliers on this to keep it from spinning. So we're going to go to the 3/8. We're going to clamp. So this one, we're going to loosen up on that one. We're going to tighten up on the other one. Now, if you got so much stud that it's longer than your socket, then you're out of luck. So I need to reverse my ratchet so that it's, and now I'm gonna take some of the tension off of that. Because I need it to be even. Yes, it's making the cable sag more, but I'm going to reintroduce tensioning, but evenly. I need the top and the bottom to be even. So even though that loosened up quite a bit, the bottom one is still visibly still way out of whack. So I'm gonna get my pliers on the bottom and tighten up on the bottom, and I'll bring it back. Now you can see how it's not kicked up or kicked down, it's straight. I had to take a lot of adjustment out of that bottom. I mean, I had to tighten it up a lot, and then I had to come back because after I got this cable tight, it was kicked down. I had to bring it up, and you'll see it moving as your cable is, and we'll look at, let's see, this one. So if this is kicked up, that means you need to tighten up on the opposite one to pull it back down. So you do the opposite. So now that this is good, check my tension. It's a lot better, but it's not quite right. We're gonna take the rest of it out using the chain. So now we gotta switch over to the 3/8. We don't need pliers for the chain, but we wanna keep this straight, and you can use your wrench to just keep the chain straight. And we're gonna tighten up on the entire assembly to get our chain a little tighter, you know, which is gonna tighten up evenly. See, you try to split it. You try to do half and half on the cables and the chain, so that when you get the cables right, you can use the chain to pull both cables tension in at the same time. So I still got some adjustment on my chain nut. So I'm just gonna switch over to my 7/16 socket on my power ratchet. And I'm gonna position it. So this is great for you flat rate guys, and you wanna do this quick without, you see how I just moved it a little bit, how it's moving the whole, what do you call these things? The shuttle, the whole shuttle is moving. You could take your 7/16 wrench or your pliers. I normally just take the wrench and kind of hold the chain with it to keep it from twisting too much. And I'm just tightening that up. So much faster. And then you take your chain, your wrench, and you can make your chain back straight before you hit the jam nut, and that's gonna keep it straight. So we're just gonna twist that whole assembly. You can twist it with your hand. You wanna get it straight. Now, these has good tension on it, right? And now we got this jam nut. We still got a little bit of adjustment in it, which we want. And it's just this stud is pretty short. They're normally longer than that. And now we're gonna take our wrench and tighten that jam nut. And now we got this side of the ends good. When we go outside, we won't have the sagging cables anymore. So I'm just gonna take my wrench, and it'll take some finagling. And I just wanna get on that jam nut and just tighten that jam nut. So let me do that, it takes two hands. So most of my guys, my techs that follow me, I know you guys are flat rate, and even if you're not, if you're like me, when I was hourly, I worked like a starving flat rate tech. I did as much work as I possibly could in a day. I came in early, I left late. I tried to do more units than anybody because I loved the job and I wanted to be super efficient, and I bought whatever tools and equipment was necessary to make me more efficient, okay? So using this method, this can save you a lot off of your time, because you get an hour on book time to remove this trim. So and your service writers, you know, if they write it up correctly, you know, they will put in for each step. You know, you have to remove the trim, and then you get a time for the actual adjustment. By being able, if you have a high ceiling like this and you can get to it using that power ratchet, which is money that you're spending so you can be more efficient, you can do this adjustment really quickly and make really good time on this job. You could probably do this adjustment in 15 minutes instead of taking all of this trim off and putting it back on. So you probably get 2 hours for this job, and you can do it in 15 minutes if you're willing to invest in a power ratchet or use this technique using a ratchet. But a power ratchet is what's going to do it for you quick. This is tried and true. These work too. It depends on the situation. I typically use this, and if I want to go really fast, I use a ratchet. Power ratchet when I have limited swing, because it takes forever when you got limited swing and you're on a manual ratcheting wrench. And a ratcheting wrench is a big step up from just a normal wrench. So, you know, this was the progression. Regular wrenches, ratcheting wrenches, power ratchet with 1/4 inch, you know, real slim line 1/4 inch sockets out of my SK set. And it works, guys. You do this really quick. And what you have is everything correct. You know, You got everything is straight, tight, and now the room will operate without the shuttles colliding and without all that slack in the line, which is going to cause problems. So now we got to deal with the issue of the slide topper roller assembly is behind the fascia boards. Okay, the customer saw the symptom of, hey, you know, the call went something like this. Hey, when I try to roll in a big slide, I'm having an issue. One of the cables is drooping really bad, and the fabric is bunching up. It's not rolling in like it used to. Well, that's because of what we're going to take a look at outside. That's because your roller tube assembly is pressed up against. It's on the inside. It should be on the outside. See that? See how it's bending it out? And you can see where it's tearing up the fabric because it's been tried to roll in like that. So now that we got our cables tight, ooh yeah, that's good. Now we got to work on that right there. So I got to get the ladders out now. In order to fix this, guys, as you can see, you see how the tube is kind of bowed, but it's obviously behind here. You have to take you some big cotter pins. I just keep a big pack from Harbor Freight. You get the largest one, open it up, and move the awning in a bit to where you can twist it to where you can line up the holes. This is the hole. Do that on both sides. Now we can release this pin that holds the roller tube assembly to the bracket assembly, and we can move this out. We could take the roller tube out and work with the bracket. We'll leave the roller tube just sitting on the slide. So you take you some lock pliers, or if you got some high grip pliers, you just want to, I'm using the same locking pliers that I had earlier. And as long as you can get them in there, get a good bite on that. It needs to be a little tighter. So where you can pull that pin out. I'm gonna have to work with it with two hands, but you see what I'm trying to do. And I gotta get this pin pulled out. And once I get that pin out, it will separate the roller tube assembly from this head assembly. I might even put some lube on it, spray it down and make it easier. So you gotta remove the pin and then the two set screws that keeps this so it can't slide. After you do that, a little hammer, because it's kind of rusted in place. Now this comes out. Got to go down and take the pin off the other side. And now that we have this out, you can see what's going on with this to where it was able to get behind this bracket. So was it just the accumulation of water? The weight of the water pulled it? Could be. But now that we have it off, kind of got to get this back. This is metal. This is just a plastic cover. The middle stop's about right there. So try to bend that back into shape. Put the cover back on it. And see this, you can tell it's deformed because it has a tube right here where it needs to sit out here. So we take this off. Our bracket is severely bent, so gonna need some new hardware. Need some new hardware on this. Let's go ahead and take the other end off, and the bracket's probably in the same. This used to be a hard 90 here. That was a 90. That was a 90, and now it's not. It's been bent up. Could have been the water pulling on it. So I'll switch over to that side, take it apart so I can get this roller off of it, and then I have to order some brackets. And I believe these are Dometics. I hadn't seen the tag yet, but I'm familiar with the shape and you see that little comma like that, that's a Dometic slide topper. The tag is on the roller tube. You have to unroll that. My drill is under here. Let me go on the other side, take the pin out, and then all I gotta do is take the pin out, but I know the bracket is bent over there as well. And just like we had on the other side, the bracket is severely bent up. Our 90 is now a 45. We've lost the angle on the main one. It didn't bend the top one, but either way, both of them are damaged to the point where they both have to be replaced. If you try to hammer this down, the middle is fatigued, it's going to break. You have to replace the bracket. You may be able to beat that down on this one since it hadn't lost that 90, but it's gonna be very weak, and it's gonna break, it's gonna bend again. You just gotta get new brackets. They're made out of aluminum.